my name's Todd Hicks.
And I'm Joe Rimelspach.
And on behalf of OTF and the Department of Plant Pathology, welcome to this week's Turf Tips. Well, weather-wise, it looks like we've dried out, at least for the moment. It looks like we're going to head into a little cooler weather, not these intense heats, these indices of over 100 degrees. Central Ohio, at least, looks like about middle 80s, low 80s in about 10 days. A couple pop-up storms beginning next week. So always be on the lookout for those pop-up storms. They're great events for disease that pop up on you. Speaking of disease, dollar spot kind of had a respite there during that high heat period. Some people were even reporting some recovery. Now's the time before it gets cool again to try to get that stress off the turf, catch up with your fungicide applications for dollar spot, because we're going to go right back into the cream of the crop weather for dollar spot. Brown patch is still prevalent in some areas that low-lying areas that have been wet. Patch diseases are coming back. Summer patch and anthracnosis reared its head again. It loves this weather. Also look out for Pythium. We haven't had a confirmed case, but we've heard some people have some suspected areas for Pythium. Probably not going to be a real problem as the weather changes to these cooler nights, these 70-degree, low 80-degree days. Not a big deal. Roots, big concern. Everywhere we go on golf courses, roots are much shallower this time of year than we normally see. So any kind of thing you can do to reduce the stress on your greens, tees, do it. We're just heading into August, the real heavy period of normally for summer. When we see the root pruning cut back, if you're starting out short already, you really can't afford to lose much more roots. Joe, what are you seeing in the line?
One thing I want to follow up on, Todd, on the golf courses that we have seen is a little bit unusual. We've had several cases just this week of anthracnose on creeping bent grass. And there's some on the foliage that you can identify with the typical little black spines. But then the more concerning thing is that you'll find it on the stovens. And so if you're, had clubby bent, you're speeding up greens, or the greens are soft, you're scalping a little bit. You see thinning in areas. Don't just because you have bent, don't think you can't get anthracnose, because it could creep up on you. As far as lawns, it's all over the board throughout the state. We're in the land of extremes. So it's been very hot. Many lawns were very lush, look great. They're crashing. Many of the same diseases Todd talked about. We're seeing brown patches being reported, especially on some tall fescue lawns, especially if they've been wet or in shaded areas. Dollar spot is just widespread throughout the state, continues to crank along in high-cut turf. Rust, we mentioned a couple weeks ago, at least in the Central Ohio area, it has exploded. I was out looking at some turf yesterday. My shoes were completely orange after I came back in from that little diagnostic trip. Water is all over the board too, as Todd has mentioned. Been talking to some people throughout the state. Many areas have, it's been bumping up and down from light rain to some heavy activity this last week. But there actually are some really dry spots. Up in northeast Ohio, there are lawns that are going dormant. They're just powdered. They have had very little rain. Actually, this whole year they've had very little rain. So it's just all over the board. And so, in light of that, and with the heat, be cognizant that some of the weaker grasses, Poania, especially Poa trivialis, could be going out. So if you have patches, one of the first steps I try to stress with students is identify the host, identify the turf. If it's something specific like that, it just may be a physiological response to the weird weather conditions. And with that, I just encourage you, when you're looking at doing brown spot analysis, make sure you look at the soil. Use a soil probe, a knife, whatever. Do a thorough examination of the plants and the soil, and then you can start putting the pieces together and seeing what's going on. So with that, have a great week. If you have any questions, contact us, and we'll be happy to work with you. In just 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks, we'll have our field day here at the Research Center, so we'd like to invite you to that. And we're looking forward to hearing from you if you have any questions or comments.
If you haven't registered, I'm sure Brian can put a link at the bottom of this video that you can sign up and visit us. Look forward to seeing you in about a week and a half. Take care.